Hello everyone, my name is Devinder Kaur and you all are welcome to my YouTube channel The Enlightened Room. Dear students, in this video we are going to discuss about our topic respiration. So in this video a few topics will be discussed regarding respiration. For example, the first one is respiration, of course, then is the concept of breathing and cellular respiration, difference between breathing and respiration, as well as types of respiration, which includes aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so our today's topic is quite simple and easy, only if you understand it with concentration. Okay, so the common man understanding of respiration is like you can see it here: inhale of oxygen and exhale of carbon dioxide. This is the common way to understand about the respiration. But the scientific meaning of respiration, my dear students, is the not only the gases exchange, that means the intake of oxygen from the atmosphere and release of carbon dioxide, but also the breakdown of simple food, as you can see it through this picture. Also the breakdown of simple food so that a sufficient amount of energy is released inside the cells. Okay, and so that's why respiration as well as breathing are quite different from each other. Well, how they are different? Well, for your knowledge, respiration I know is quite difficult to define, but one can consider it in the beginning that it is a phenomenon by which oxygen is absorbed by the living organism and carbon dioxide is liberated. That was a previous definition which was used a long years ago. Okay, but after the research and discoveries, it is clear that respiration is not only the gases exchange, it also includes some cellular oxidation and release of energy. So the gases exchange in plants during the daytime is different because of photosynthesis, while at night it is quite different. You will learn about it in the future videos. So the concept of exchange of gases is actually breathing, not respiration. Respiration not only includes exchange of gases but also it includes the release of energy. So what is breathing actually? Breathing is a kind of, you can say, ventilation. Okay, it is a kind of ventilation in which any living organism take oxygen from the environment. As you can see it through the picture, it can inhale oxygen from the environment and exhale or release carbon dioxide. In higher animals, especially in mammals, breathing is regarded as rhythmic movement of muscles and skeleton in order to increase the gases exchange across the respiratory surface. Okay, I hope the concept of breathing is clear to you. So what is respiration, or we better to be say it as cellular respiration? Well, cellular respiration is quite a complex concept as compared to the breathing because it occurs inside the cell. Okay, inside this living cells. So it is the oxidation of respiratory substrate. Now what is respiratory substrate? This glucose. Glucose is the respiratory substrate in the cells which result in the release of carbon dioxide and energy in the form of ATP. Okay, the respiration involves the release of energy only in the form of ATP. This you need to remember. Okay, so this is what a cellular respiration is. So there are different types of cellular respiration. Okay, cellular respiration, that means oxidation of food. The food gives glucose. You have learned it in the nutrition in human beings, right? So the food produces glucose, and the oxidation of glucose is divided into two categories depending upon the atmospheric oxygen. Okay, so according to the availability of atmospheric oxygen, First type of cellular respiration is aerobic respiration. Okay, so in case of aerobic respiration, as you can see from this picture, a huge amount of energy is being released, right? So it is actually the oxidative breakdown of glucose with the help of atmospheric oxygen. So what happens in this process? The respiratory substrates such as simple food, in which it includes glucose, is completely broken down into carbon dioxide and water by the process of oxidation. Okay, so in most of the eukaryotic organisms, some part of the aerobic respiration occurs in cytoplasm here. Okay, and the major part, which is considered as Krebs cycle, occurs inside the mitochondria. So what happens in the cytoplasm? The glucose is step by step broken down into pyruvic acid here, which is a 3-carbon compound, by the process of glycolysis. So in the presence of oxygen, this pyruvic acid enters mitochondria, where it is completely broken down, and the oxidative breakdown leads to the production of energy rich compounds ATP here. Okay, so what actually happens is that the glucose, alright, let me write it here. The glucose, by the process of glycolysis, it happens actually in cytosol, where oxygen is not required, produces pyruvic acid. Okay, and this pyruvic acid, when reaches in mitochondria, where oxygen is needed, produces carbon dioxide, water, and energy in the form of ATP. Okay, approximately 36 to 38 ATP is produced here. So this one process, the process that occurs in mitochondria, is considered as Krebs cycle. Okay, I hope this one is clear to you. Let me change the size here. Okay, I'll do it later. First of all, let us focus on the topic. Okay, so this one was aerobic respiration. Now it's time for the anaerobic respiration. As it is clear from its name, the requirement of oxygen is not much needed. Okay, for example, in aerobic respiration, most of the part, that means major part of this respiration occurred in mitochondria when oxygen was required, and that major part was considered as Krebs cycle, right? But in this one, in the aerobic oxygen, most of the respiration will occur in the absence of oxygen. So what actually happens in anaerobic respiration, that oxidation of respiratory substrates in absence of oxygen is termed as anaerobic respiration, and it involves incomplete breakdown of glucose, in which the end products such as ethanol, lactic acid, right, are formed and carbon dioxide is released. Here you can see, right? So as in the case of aerobic respiration, the initial breakdown of glucose led to pyruvic acid, which was due to the glycolysis inside the cytoplasm. So the whole process occurs just same as the aerobic. Until this process, it is same as aerobic in the terms of anaerobic. That means in case of anaerobic respiration, glucose in cytoplasm will go through the process of glycolysis, because there is no oxygen required, and will give pyruvic acid. Until then, is same, but after that the real thing happens. In anaerobic respiration, as it occurs in certain organisms such as bacteria and yeast, it will give results in absence of oxygen such as ethanol and lactic acid, because pyruvic acid will be broken down in absence of oxygen to result in the production of ethanol and lactic acid. Okay, and this will occur in bacteria and yeast. So the microorganisms get energy in absence of oxygen by anaerobic respiration, in which ethyl alcohol is produced and carbon dioxide is released. So this is the overall reaction. What happens in yeast? In yeast, when glucose in cytoplasm has been converted into pyruvic acid and some energy, in case of yeast, with the absence of oxygen, it will give out ethanol, C2H5OH, carbon dioxide and energy. In muscle cells, in the muscle cells of living organisms, it will give out lactic acid and energy, and in mitochondria where the oxygen is needed, it will give out carbon dioxide, water and energy. Okay, the muscle cells also include the muscle cells of humans. Okay, so in animals, the glucose is actually converted into lactic acid and energy. In yeast, it is converted. Animals, that means in animals or some mammals, and in mammals that means human beings too. Okay, whereas in case of yeast, glucose is either converted into ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy, or just ethanol, carbon dioxide and energy. Well, if in case of mitochondria, it gives out carbon dioxide, water and some energy. But the main thing you need to know about anaerobic respiration, that it is carried out by some microorganism, right? And in some microorganisms such as yeast that we have just discussed, in case of yeast, it gives out ethanol. But the process in which yeast is being converted into some ethanol or anaerobic respiration is occurring in yeast, this process is called fermentation. Okay, so the fermentation is also carried out by a complex enzyme called as zymase. So the anaerobic respiration also occurs inside the muscles during vigorous muscular activities. It usually occurs during the phase when the oxygen gets used up faster than it is available for the oxidative breakdown of glucose. Therefore, the anaerobic respiration in muscles is different than that of microorganisms. So in this case, the oxidation of glucose results in the production of lactic acid, and this is how the reaction goes for the lactic acid. Okay, so this was about the respiration, breathing and the types of respiration. In the next video, we will discuss about respiratory system in human beings, exchange of gases in aquatic and terrestrial organisms, as well as exchange of gases in plants. I hope you found this video useful. And if this video is useful to you, do share it with your friends and classmates and subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Thank you for watching.